Well, a lot has changed this week. The entrance, we have an entrance and an exit, and the entrance has been dug out, all the soft soil removed, and firm clay soil put back in it, and the gravel put down. I'll show it to you right now. I'll give you guys a look at the strength of this, without the clamps on it, obviously. We're well organized. Welcome back. Where we left off last week with the tables was, I got about half the table put together. I'll show you here. And I stopped at drilling the holes for the cross pieces. The table itself, you could build this table probably pretty easy, a lot easier probably, with just 8-foot 2x6s that you pocket hole drill together, and that's it. But we're doing ours with an end cap, so you don't like see the end of the 2x6s, and then there's an end cap on each end, and then there's a 2x6 runner in the middle. The thoughts behind this is that we would speed up the decoration of said farm table for a wedding by clearly illustrating where the center of the table is. That's basically all that idea came from. And we saw some tables at a friend of ours venue, Grant Hill, great place. Kevin and Jamie Burchard are the owners of that. Great people. Anyway, we seen their tables, looked them up. It's like $1,200 for a table. Like, what? Beautiful tables, awesome tables. But as you guys know, we got more time than we got money right now, so we are definitely going to be building that, and that's where this all came from. So I'll drop you back up here on a time lapse. I'm going to finish drilling, put the pocket hole pieces together, and we'll build the other half of the table, get the frame under it today. Should be a very productive day. on this one, this is the one I'm talking about that goes in the center. Again, we're looking at this upside down, so this will be the centerpiece. So I had to drill the screws to go that way and this way into each of these 2x6s. You can tell it's warped a little bit, so we'll put the screws in the ones that line up and then put a clamp on it and draw them down to square it up a little bit better. But again, this is just a prototype table. It's probably going to end up being a picnic table, honestly. And all the other ones will be built from this model. So I need to cut 2, 4, 7 more of these out of these pieces over here. You get 3 because they're 39 inches long. So you get 3 per 10-foot 2x6. And is that right? Yeah. And then these 2x4s are what we're going to make the frame for underneath. Basically, the frame's what gives it its strength. But yeah, I'm going to cut these up real quick. And I'll do the same thing as I did here, where you just put the pocket holes in them to screw them together. And we'll get this all screwed together. Yeah, so I just cut all the pieces I literally cut them for half the table. So, and that took almost 12 minutes. So when I go to do 10 of these, I'll probably put up a stop. Once I get the first one cut, I'll make a stop and then I'll just pump them out, because there's 14, 17 per table. And at 10 tables, you know, that's 170 pieces of wood. So, and then once we get that set up, then I'll set up a mass production line for drilling these holes, and it'll probably take a small bucket of screws. Well, you know, there's a lot involved in it. That's why we're doing it now. This is why it says it's test. So now I'm going to put the pocket holes in these. I'll show you. These pocket holes in the pieces I just cut. Again, this is the middle. You got screws going both ways. I'll make that half over there, I'll replicate that, turn it around, put it on here. We put the screws in it, the top's done. Then we'll move on to the frame. So I'll spare you the boring part of drilling the holes. The Craig jig is pretty simple. There's all kinds of videos out there on how to set it up, so I'm not gonna waste your guys' time with that, but I'll be right back. So now I got the pocket holes drilled. As you can see there, we picked up a little bit longer F-style clamps than I normally have. This is what they look like. These are 50-inch ones. That's what I'm going to use to squeeze this while I put the screws in. So, once again, it's hard to do this with one hand, but I'll set this up over here and show you guys. So now that I got those in there, you can see them. All the screws is pretty solid. I'm gonna mark it now so I can put the pocket holes in here. And this one, I'm gonna put 2 in these, actually each piece, because you're going into the end of the wood, and it's got, you know, a lot less surface tension there. So I'm gonna you can use a straight edge, doesn't really matter. Just getting it close. Seems like overkill, but like I said,
I want to make sure that this table, when it's put together, it doesn't break loose. So I'm going to set this up in the jig, drill these holes, I'll come back, put the screws in. Okay, so I got the, I went and picked up a board. I got the other end put on here. And I don't have it perfectly flat. You can see by the 2x4. However, if you watch this, I'll be able to pull it up and I'll square it up that way. It'd be really nice if I had a flat working surface, but honestly, for what we got, I'm very, very happy with this. So the next thing I gotta do is make this frame. And the frame is nothing more than the 2x4s on their side. Some people call it ladder frame. I'm just calling it a frame. And I'm probably gonna put these side runners here, probably about 1.5 inches off the edge here. And then about the same on the end here, I believe. And the reason for that is to get the legs as wide as I can get them. This thing's gonna be crazy solid, and it's gonna be heavy. So I only bought 3 2x4s. So I need a long one on each side, and then the third one will be the cross members. I'll show you that here in a minute, but the product list has to get changed. Instead of 5 2x6s, you gotta have 6, and they gotta be 10 foot. And it works out pretty good that way, honestly. So I'll set you up over here. I'm gonna lay this out real quick, and I'll go over what I've done. So what I've done with the 2x4s is I cut them to make a frame that is 1.5 inches inside the table. That'll put the legs right at about, the center of the legs will be, close to 7 foot, 10 inches on center, and 7 foot 10 by, we'll say 34 inches on center, roughly. I mean, it's rough. Depending on what size, 2x4s, 2x8s, 2x10s, some random piece of wood, whatever. That'll depend on how yours goes. And literally, I just laid it on there. I laid the 2x4 on there, marked it. Took a couple scab pieces like this. I just sat on the edge like this, said, yep, that's all right. And then this piece here comes in front of this one. And I was like, huh, yep, that's about where it goes. And then took the pocket hole jig, drilled pocket holes in here. I'm gonna fasten it to this. Once I get here's the important part of this. The 2x4s have got to be, really straight. If I had it all to do again, and when I probably mass produce these things, I'll make a flat table with plywood, and I'll make one of these frames for underneath the table so that it's 100% flat. Then I can just lay it right on top of plywood and build it. Don't have to worry about, when I go to make 10 of these, that's what I'll probably do. But for right now, this is just a quick one just to see how hard it is to build them and how much it's going to cost. And I'm going to get the boss down here in a minute, and we will lay this out and get it ready to sand. Once it gets sanded, we'll be staining it. So stay tuned. So as far as how I decided to fasten it down, I'm starting right here in the middle of the table. And then I'm fastening this piece here to that piece there first. I'm getting this all square and true. And then these side pieces, I'm pulling them down as I go. And I'll do like that one over there. Then I'll do this one over here, like catty corner, like you're tightening down the bolts on the head of a car or something like that. Staggering it, bring them down equally and even. Again, if I had a flat table, if I was building this on a flat surface, this would be a non-issue, but I don't. So what I'm doing is slowly bringing it up. I'll spin this around, it's easier for you to see it. So you can see the gap here, right there, and there's none there. So what I do when I tighten this up, what'll happen to it is it'll go whoop, and then, as I go back and forth, that way the table doesn't get into a twist or a bind. I'll bring them all up at the same time. But using the pocket hole drills and drilling this way on the inside, so that the only screw holes you're going to see on this thing's right here. There's a matching set over there, and then on the ends here, there's 2 on each of these, and a matching set down there. So here's what it's going to look like from underneath. Again, I'm just going around and starting in the middle and working my way back, you know, here, 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 there, there, and then the same on the ends. And I have these ratcheting hand clamps right here that I will use to pull this up into place. And I'll probably preliminary just hang it by that. I don't really want to put it in a bind. I'll show you what I mean by that. Put it in the middle and just let it hang there. You know what I mean? Not crank it, not try to warp it or anything. And you can tell already, like just doing that part right there, looks flat and square. I have to do the same thing down there, however, but. So in essence, I'm making the tabletop as flat as these 2x4s are. That's basically a ladder frame sitting on top of it. So let me get these in place. Again, I'm just going back and forth. I'm not going to bore you with a video of this, but I'll be right back. So real quick, one of the things I did was I went around and put the screws, see them, put them in their slots, and that way when the phone rings and I got to answer it or whatever, I know where I'm at. So obviously this one's gone, that one's gone, this one's gone, that one's there. So that's where I'm at. So after I do that one, I'll come back over here and do this one, jump across, come back. And this is like, you know, shoelacing. So it gradually brings it up, keeps it tight to the top, as tight as it's going to be. Again, this thing isn't supposed to be perfect. If I did need it to be perfect, I probably would have planed all the wood, and or I'd be planing it now. You know what I mean? So we're not going for perfection here. We're going for a rustic farm table. So if it had to be perfect, I'd probably have to buy it, because y'all know how I is. All right, kids, so we got it all fastened down. Ta-da. I would guess that picking up 6 2x6s and 3 2x4s that are 10 foot long, if you can pick them up with one hand, you can flip this tabletop over. However, I cannot. And I'm not 100% sure the table I got it sitting on will hold it if I slammed it or flipped it too hard. So that looks like it's all for this evening. I will be back, get my shop helper, my sexy shop helper. I will get her down here to help me flip this thing over. And once I get it, actually I might have her sand it the way it sits. Give it a light sanding right here. We'll probably stain the bottom first. That way if we don't like it, by we, you know what I mean? If we don't like it, we won't have ruined the whole thing. So that sounds like a plan, actually. So I'll flip around here, and it's pretty heavy. I don't think, it's not like 1,000 pounds or nothing, but it's probably close to 60 pounds or so, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, you can see it's not perfect, you know. It's not by any stretch of imagination, but by sanding it and distressing it and making it look old, that's what we're going for here. So that's it for tonight. We're gonna shut the place down. Not real complicated. This is the shop, by the way. It's not really a shop. We're in the basement of the house that we rent, and it only has access through the outside door. So brought the saws down here, set up a table. I got an area, it's probably maybe 20 by 20 or so, I don't know. Keep the humidifier going. I turned this fan on here. It's a pretty cool fan. Let me show you this fan. So it's like a shop fan, but technically it's out of a furnace. This is not the one I had in Cincinnati. This is the one I purchased down here. The one I had in Cincinnati is pretty burned up and tired. Puts out some really good amount of air, and that helps to keep everything dry. You know, this thing does flood, but
It takes a lot for it to flood now. I sealed up some of the cracks, cleaned it up real good. When Amy Johnson was here, she helped me with getting it cleaned out one day. We put everything up on a skid. Get my tasty beverage. Can't put that on camera. We got the floor mopped, everything got pretty dry. And it does get wet down here, not gonna lie. But it takes like 1.5 inches of rain over the course of a day or two now. Squeegeed that out. I found a low spot. I set the shop vac up over there. It works great. So I'm about to turn this camera off so I can use the phone to see outside because I need to change the light bulb. And then I will be back again. And you guys will get to see the finish on this. Hopefully it happens this week. This week's almost got past us. I have a lot done. Over on the property, I'll show you what they got done here right now after this video and or after this segment. And you can see the roughing on plumbing and different things. And we're calling, I think, for an inspection in the morning. So we're moving along. We really are.